Cary Breese, CEO of NowRx, joining us once again for a third interview with the company. Cary, so great to have you back again. How are you?
Thank you, Michael. Doing great. Good to see you again.
Same here, Cary. Excited to have you back. We're going to talk about a really interesting angle of NowRx's growth today, talking about the crowdfunding side of things and what you guys are working on there. Kick us off and talk about what equity crowdfunding is. Can you give us some background?
Yeah, equity crowdfunding got developed under the Jobs Act and is really interesting opportunity. And I don't think it can be overstated the significance of it. In the past, there were two kinds of companies. There were privately held companies that no one except professional investors could invest in, or there were public companies that everyone could invest in as long as they had a brokerage account, so-called retail investors. But what equity crowdfunding does, and it goes by the term of Regulation A, which sounds kind of scary, but it creates a third category of company that is essentially private in that there's no publicly traded stock, and yet anyone can invest in these Regulation A equity crowdfunding companies by going to one of the several platforms that allow investing in these kind of early stage startups. So it's a fantastic opportunity to really open up a new frontier for retail investors where they can participate and get in at early stages with tech companies and fast growing companies that ordinarily would only be kind of the domain of venture capitalists and other professional investors. So it's really exciting development. And we've been a big supporter of that. We've raised a lot of money in crowdfunding. In fact, our last round was a record round on seedinvest.com, and it was oversubscribed. So really excited about crowdfunding. It's been a big part of our success.
That's great. Makes a lot of sense. And then when you look at this from the NowRx perspective, specifically in the crowdfunding angle, of course, makes a lot of sense. But why did NowRx specifically decide to go with the crowdfunding route? And then what makes NowRx a good investment when you look at it from this equity crowdfunding perspective?
Crowdfunding gives us several advantages over sort of the traditional venture capitalist route. Number one, we don't give up board seats, so we can manage, control the company a little bit more under our control in the way we like it. And also, as we're promoting the round itself, we're able to promote the company. So we're embarking on a mission here to build a national brand. And through the promotion and PR that we get through the crowdfunding raise effort itself, we're actually building brand ambassadors. Every investor that comes into the company, even if they may only invest $1,000, they become a brand ambassador. They become the biggest supporters for NowRx. And now we have tens of thousands of investors throughout the country that are supporting NowRx and help build the brand. And we also believe, we get really fair terms that are fair for both investors and the company. And so that's really the summary of why we've gone crowdfunding. We continue to talk to private equity and venture capitalists, but for us, crowdfunding has made the most sense up to this point.
Absolutely. So that all tracks. And then when we're looking at this, moving into the NowRx angle specifically, how is NowRx different than local pharmacies or mail order services that may deliver?
Yeah, what we focused on in the early parts of developing the company were how to fix the process inside pharmacies. If you go to a pharmacy today, many times, in fact, 35% of the time, your prescription gets rejected. 35% of US adults have had a prescription rejected in the last year. So that's a big problem. If your insurance rejects it, you can't pick up your medication. You've got to call the company, insurance company, and find out, what medication would be covered or what was the problem with that medication. Or sometimes, another mishap with your doctor. Perhaps they didn't authorize the refill or there was a confusion with the prescription itself. And that those bottlenecks and complexities in the processing behind the scenes inside the pharmacy are what we focused our technology and software on how to fix that. We also use robotics to do the dispensing, so we're not reliant on human beings counting out pills. So the entire processing thing that goes on inside a pharmacy is what we've really made better. And so when you look at other competitors in the space, either Amazon or corner store pharmacies, they're not using what NowRx has built. We've built something called the NowRx Quick Fill system, which is a pharmacy management system, and it fixes all of those problems inside the pharmacy. And you can see the result in the better customer reviews and just more seamless experience. And in addition, because of the efficiency that technology provides, we're able to do free same-day delivery with no delivery charge to the patient. They just pay their regular pay. So it's just a better model for patients. It's a more seamless experience, and all of that comes from technology.
Got it. Okay, all makes sense. Amazon, of course, entered the pharmacy space first through PillPack and now with the launch of the Amazon Pharmacy. How does NowRx plan to compete with a company of that size?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, obviously, Amazon's a formidable competitor in any consumer space, but the way Amazon entered pharmacies, they acquired a company called PillPack, and PillPack was another startup. PillPack never built their own pharmacy management system. They're using a third-party kind of legacy pharmacy system, and I think if you look at the reviews and their customer experience, it sort of reflects that. I have a saying in NowRx that legacy pharmacy management systems breed legacy customer service and customer experience. And so we think we can really outcompete Amazon through a better customer experience that we're creating through our technology. The other thing is in pharmacy, Amazon really doesn't have the advantage that they have in other types of consumer plays where they can just through sheer volume be the low cost provider. For pharmacy, the cost to the patient 95% of the time comes from the insurance company saying, hey, patient, Michael, if you went to the pharmacy, they'd say, hey, you got to pay your copay, which is $10 or $15, and we'll pay the pharmacy the rest of the money. And so as Amazon Pharmacy goes out and tries to get customers, all their customers have to pay the same copay, that $10 or $15 for the medications that they would have to pay if they came to NowRx or CVS. So in pharmacy, it's a level playing field, and Amazon can't use one of their biggest weapons, which is being the low-cost provider. And the last thing I'll say about Amazon, because I know it's a big question on a lot of people's minds, is that in pharmacy, I mean, if you look at groceries, let's say, pharmacy is way more complex than groceries. Amazon entered groceries in 2007. They announced Amazon Fresh. Then they went and bought Whole Foods. After about 15 years of working at grocery, Amazon still to this day has a less than 3% market share. And we think pharmacy is a way more difficult, more complex industry. So we feel pretty good about our technology advantage, the customer experience that we built, and our ability to really get through the complexities in the industry better than anyone else.
That's great. Going back to the equity crowdfunding a little bit too as we start to close. NowRx's Series B on Seed Invest was oversubscribed, in fact, with shares completely selling out. Do you think you're going to fully sell out the 73 million?
Yeah, we have high expectations and think that's quite likely and doable given the demand that we're seeing. We started this round at a record pace with a record-setting first closing. We're seeing great demand from investors and consumers alike for the NowRx service. And so we do anticipate filling out this round completely. You can go to seedinvest.com/NowRx and read more about it.
Amazing. Well, certainly looking forward to pointing our readers and listeners over to the NowRx campaign and seeing the results of the equity investing crowdfunding campaign. Cary Breese, CEO of NowRx, always great to have you with us. Thanks once again for being here.
Thank you.